And Joanne Harris, author of the popular novel Chocolat, has divided opinion online with her view on trigger warnings, my friends.
And she believes all books should come with one, and from now on will include a trigger warning in all of her future publications. This is so, she says, that her readers feel safe.
So does she have a point? Writer Emma Woolf, the great niece of legendary writer Virginia Woolf, says reading should be seen as a journey and we shouldn't be protected. Meanwhile, author Lewis Oakley thinks there's nothing wrong with trigger warnings for things that people may find upsetting.
Lewis, let's start with you. Why do you think we need trigger warnings on books?
Well, I think if an author wants to put a trigger warning in because they say, you know, I'm trying to give you a romantic journey or, you know, a thriller, and I'm actually not here to make you feel uncomfortable. So at the back of the book, I'll just pop a little list of themes that are discussed. If one of those is really likely to unsettle you, then don't read the book. I don't see what the problem is. It's up to an author's personal choice of saying, you know, it's not my intention to make you uncomfortable. This is what's included in the book. And I think that's nice. There are some people that, you know, have gone through things that then if they read about it, such as, you know, a physical attack, for example, it can really unsettle them. That's not why they picked up the book to begin with. And I also think it's really good for people that say, oh, this is just woke nonsense. It's, you know, at least that you can say, well, you were told. So if you're offended after you've read it, you were told.
Emma, give me some common sense then. We're going soft as anything in the world, aren't we? Talk to me.
We really are, Jeremy. Look, readers don't need to be protected. They need to be challenged. They need to be excited. I am also an author. I have written 10 books, and I've touched on very, very sensitive themes about mental health and, you know, things that possibly could trigger people. If you put trigger warnings on books, you're basically telling people, you know, this is frightening, this might offend you. I think reading should be a journey into the unknown. I think it should be unsafe. The irony of all this is that the online world is far, far more dangerous and unsettling and potentially triggering than anything you will ever find in books. But it's like tearing down statues. It's like trying to erase history. You don't learn and you don't explore the world by just avoiding it. You actually need to talk about things. I think that if there's things like racism or sexism or misogyny or even unsettling stuff about self-harm, let's talk about it. Let's discuss why that makes us feel unsafe. Let's talk about why it makes us feel uncomfortable. To me, that's far more exciting. And reading should be exciting.
But Lewis, isn't it up to an individual's choice whether or not they read those trigger warnings and whether or not they actually decide to read the book? I take Emma's point completely, but for example, if someone had just lost their mum and they were really struggling with the grief, they might not want to read a novel that delves into what it's like to lose a parent.
Exactly. I mean, that's what it's about. If we were talking about slapping sort of cigarette-style warnings on the front covers, then I think that's going too far. But something at the back where you can have a little look. And as you say, if you've just lost your mom and you're reading a book, so you're just trying to escape what's happened, and then you're suddenly confronted with it again, it's upsetting. And that's not what reading the book is about. People sometimes don't want to be challenged. If people want to be challenged, as Emma says, go on the internet. But sometimes people might just want to escape into a book, you know, have a nice story told to them, but not want to confront some of the things that they're trying to escape by reading the book.
Emma, where does it end very quickly, though? I take Lewis and Nicola's point, but where does it end? Are we going to warn people about absolutely everything? Escapism, yes, but are we going to say to people, you're not able to deal with this stuff? I get about the mother, but what are we going to say?
It might ruin an ending as well.
I've got an answer. Why don't you read the last page first, and then if it's not very happy, don't read it. Emma Woolf?
But you know what, Jeremy and Nicola and Lewis, do you know what? Life isn't about that. We can't wrap ourselves in cotton wool.
No, I agree.
Life is hard. We are confronted every day by things that make us feel uncomfortable, things that upset us. So let's make reading part of that. It should, you know, yes, sometimes we are. No one wants to lose their mother, and sometimes you're reading about something and it makes you deeply, deeply unhappy. And that's life, and you should feel... This is why we talk about the snowflake generation. This is why we talk about cotton wool.
Lewis, you've got 5 seconds. What's your response to that?
Yeah, I would say we have had trigger warnings on movies for years. You know, swearing, sex. The world hasn't caved in. The sun still rises in the morning. Life will go on.
Right,
well,
let's close this
both
chapter.
of you, brilliant. But a trigger warning. You've got half an hour to go, and she and I are still going to be here. So if you don't like that idea, tune out now.
Well, Emma Woolf, thank you so much, and Lewis Oakley there.